up? This is Caroline with the CWC podcast, where we believe that life without your favorite foods is not worth living. I'm going to be talking a lot about my journey to food freedom, and of course, I will always keep it real by sharing the good, the bad, and of course, the ugly. So we'll jump right in. First of all, I want to thank you so much for being on the CWC podcast. I'm so excited to have you on. So I'm going to do a little intro of you since, I'm sure everybody's watching is going to know who you are. But for those of you who do not know, this is Tamra Judge. She was on Real Housewives of Orange County for 12, is that right? 12 years?
Yeah, 12 years.
That's a long time. I was thinking about that. I was like, 12 years of your life. Like, is there something that you miss about filming or being on the show? Is there like something specific?
At first it was definitely a transition for me to go into what I call the real world.
Right.
It really is. Being on TV and being on the same show for 12 years, it's definitely a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
And when I left, it was kind of like, oh shit, like, what do I do now?
Right.
Because I was very busy with the show, and I was filming and doing press and traveling and doing all that. So afterwards, then COVID hit. So
right.
It was like probably the best time to be out of the show, because
you're right.
But it was hard. It was hard for me to transition, but now I'm totally fine. And, for me, I wasn't a girl that my whole life was about the show. Like, I have a whole life outside of the show, and I just continue to live my life, and everything's been good. Stress-free.
I was going to say, I think that would be really stressful to have to kind of not be on all the time, but kind of be on.
Yeah, it is stressful to be on all the time. And I felt like when we were filming, most of us were drinking all the time, because it's easier to have that liquid courage and to be outspoken and talk, where certain days you just don't feel like talking.
Right.
And for me, like, I'm a total homebody. And so it was really putting myself outside my box to film.
Yeah. I think that's why I click with you so well. Like, we haven't known each other very long, but everything you just said, like, was such a mouthful for me. Like, I'm an introvert. I am a huge homebody. My husband will be like, let's have people over. I'm like, no, like, this is my space. I want my weekend just us. And same thing with what you said about the alcohol. And I'm noticing as I'm getting older, I just can't tolerate it like I did when I was young.
I cannot tolerate it at all anymore. And I always said, like, when we filmed, there was probably about 4 months of the year where we were full-blown alcoholics. Like, we were drinking every single time we filmed. And that would really be the only time we would drink. We don't normally drink at home, and we don't have a lot of alcohol at home. And so, it's really hard to drink and get up at 5 a.m. and go work out. It just doesn't work that way.
No.
And the older I've gotten, like, 2 glasses of wine, it's like a running joke with me and my girlfriend Shelly. It's like 2 glasses of wine, I'm done the next day. 1,
yes.
Fine. 2, forget about it. I wake up with a headache. So
that's it. We were just in Dallas, and I drank too much on Saturday, and like, it's Tuesday, and I'm like, man, I'm ready to like get my mojo back. I went to the gym yesterday, and I'm just like wiped now.
Yeah. So it just knocks me on my butt every time I drink. So,
well,
I just started the keto diet.
Did you?
It's everything against what I believe in.
I was just about to say that.
I know. Eddie's like, what are you doing? But I'm doing it for autoimmune issues. And I've heard so many people. So I just thought I like to try things on my own. I've tried it before, and I just couldn't stick to it.
Right.
And so I wanted to see if I did it, if it would help some of my autoimmune issues. Because I know somebody that has lupus and had her thyroid removed, and she's doing amazing on keto. Like, she she cut down on her medication and all that. And I've heard that so many times. So I'm like, okay, I just want to see if that really works.
Helps. Well,
I'm just like desperate measures right now. I'm like, okay, what's going to help and what's not going to help?
You're exactly right. And that is where I was. And sometimes I still feel like I am, because the detox process is like, it's up and fucking down like a roller coaster. And there's days where I feel so great. And then like the next day I feel like, why do I feel like this again? Like, why, was it something I ate? Was it alcohol? Whatever it was. And you just get desperate for answers because
Answers. Yeah, that's it. I'm just desperate for answers. I just want to know what's going to work.
right.
I'm not one like, here, take all this medication and you'll be fine. Like, oh no, I don't want to take medication.
No,
So,
anti-medication. Like tell me what's going to work without
right,
all that.
right. So I don't have to take it.
Well, your explant is scheduled for July, right?
July 19th.
Yay. So, I mean, getting them out is obviously going to be like the biggest step, and you will heal from that. I know it because I've lived it and I've talked to too many women to think anything otherwise. Like once you get them out, your body will be able to really like do other things instead of fight against the implant.
The thing is like I've had inflammation in my body for so many years, and I never ever put the two together. Like I never thought like, oh, well, maybe this is because I have a foreign object in my body and my body doesn't like it.
Right.
You know, I never thought about it like that. You know, I took them out for 2 years, and not because of health issues or inflammation, just because I didn't want them anymore.
Right.
And then I worked out super hard and I started to get really lean, and I felt like, oh geez, now I have no boobs at all, you know?
Right.
And so I put them back in, and, you know, I wish I would have like thought about it or thought about my health or how I was feeling at the time, but it didn't even cross my mind.
Right. Well, you probably weren't experiencing a list of crazy symptoms. I don't know. Were you like when you got them put back in?
I don't remember. I've had inflammation for so long. Like I can't tell you for how many years. Like I'd get up in the morning, I could barely move my hands, and my knees hurt and my feet hurt, and it hurts to walk. And
yes.
I have to get up, move around and all that before I start feeling better. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. I'm not expecting it to cure everything. Like, oh, okay, take these out. And I had long talks with my doctor, Dr. Ambe, who's been my doctor forever. And he's like, listen, he's like, I'm taking more out than I'm putting in right now.
Yeah.
He says, I've had women that literally had them removed, laying on the recovery table, and like, I feel better already. I'm like, well, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I think it really does. Sometimes it's, you know, like in people's heads.
Yeah.
Like
a psychosomatic thing.
Psychosomatic. Yeah.
Yes.
Like they think like, I'm going to get removed and I'm going to feel great, but that's not necessarily how it works.
Right.
So I don't have any huge expectations about it.
But you're being realistic about it.
I'm being realistic. And another thing is like, I don't really want them anymore. Like, I just feel like the older I get, the bigger they get. And I'm like, I don't want it.
You're like mentally detaching. I was like so mentally detached from them before I explanted. I still have girls. I had a girl message me today and she's like, I explanted, but now I'm just looking at my flat chest and I'm so sad. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't even care.
I think for me, I'm definitely not flat. I have enough breast tissue that I'll probably be a C.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like a double A.
Oh, see, that's different. Like I had friends that explanted and then they didn't feel better, and I don't know if they gave it enough time and then put them back in. And I don't know. I think that you have to have a really supportive partner too. A lot of girls will reach out to me and be like, well, what does Eddie feel about it? I'm like, what do you mean? What does Eddie feel about it?
Right.
Like, do I have to ask this permission, or do you know, like that is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
And I think a lot of girls feel that way. Like their husbands are like, no, don't do it. Where Eddie's like, babe, do what you want. Like just.
And that's disgusting to me that there are men, because I've had messages that exact same, like, I really want to, and I don't feel good, but my husband wants me to have boobs. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, like respectfully, are you kidding me? Like, this is your health.
I know, but there's a lot of people out there like that. And there's a lot of asshole guys out there.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay. Well, so I have a bunch of like fun questions I want to ask you too. So we already really talked about the breast implant illness stuff. And then, I wanted to ask you a question about competing, because I know you competed in a bikini show. I did as well. And I talk about like my thoughts on competing like all the time. I want to know what little bit about what your experience was, maybe something that you weren't expecting out of that.
It was something that I always wanted to do. And because I always had so much inflammation in my body, I never could get muscle definition. I never could. I would always, like, if I ate one carb, I would just fluff up. So I was talking to Mia Finnegan, who used to compete all the time. And she was on the cover of every fitness and muscle magazine. And she's, a year older than me. and still she's 54 now. She was in amazing shape. So I told her, I always want to do this. And she's like, you can do it. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like I work out all the time and it's so hard for me to gain any muscle and all this. So we started training together. She's like, listen, I'll train you. So I hired her. She trained me because I knew that she knew exactly what she was doing. It's specific. It's not like,
right.
Now at Cut Fitness, we do train girls for bikini competitions, but it was a learning thing for us because not everybody trains like that. We were more into group fitness. Now we're more into personal training and, weightlifting and stuff like that. So I started going. It took me, it was like a 6-month process. And now when I say that, it's like 6 months, I've been working out my whole life, but this 6 months I took to 2 hours a day, heavy lifting, and then the diet. And I think that, for the diet was the hardest part for me, because I had to constantly eat and eat and eat. And there was a lot of learning about the food that I was eating, because like Mia would tell me, she's like, you need to like carb up, like start eating carbs. Then I, meet her the next day and she's like, where's your muscle? And I go, I told you I can't eat carbs. And so, found out I am insulin resistant. Super hard for me to build muscle because I just have like so much fluid and stuff all over my body. It sucks. And so I had to go on a very, very, very strict diet. Like I literally had hardly any carbs whatsoever. And it was just all like lean protein and vegetables and good fats. And that was about it. Damn. And that was probably the most difficult part of it. I started out on average about 118, 120 was my norm. But I was at 28% body fat when I started. And even at 115, I'd be 28% body fat, because that's just, my body does not process things right.
Right.
Like they thought like I was diabetic and all these things. Right. So she put me on, like I said, mostly protein and lean protein and vegetables, and started to get some results, but I had to eat so much.
Yes.
So I was eating all day long.
It's like a full-time job.
Yeah. I did get down to 14, I think, percent body fat. I think it was 14, and it was a struggle. And when I stepped on stage, I was 112 pounds. So I'm little, I'm petite.
Yeah.
And I think just mentally was the hardest thing for me. It's so mentally challenging. The workout isn't that hard for me. Like I love to work out. I enjoy it. I get a lot out of it. There's definitely days where you don't really want to work out.
Right.
But for me, like I can lift weights all day long. It's the more of the cardio part that I can't stand.
Same.
And I didn't do a lot of cardio for probably the first 5 months. I did some steady state cardio where I just got on the bike and just kind of pedaled for like an hour, but wasn't really like, out of breath.
Yeah.
And then towards the very end is when I, probably the last few weeks is when I kicked up the cardio and cut back on the weight training.
Oh my gosh. I was doing like an hour and a half of HIIT cardio every day, and I wanted to poke my eyes out.
Yeah. I think it was because it's so hard for me to build muscle that the HIIT cardio would have just burnt my muscle.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, since you just said that, I was like, that's probably why she didn't have you doing like a ton of that, but
yeah. I mean, we have girls that compete that train all the time at our gym, and they do a lot of HIIT stuff. And I'm like, I could never do that.
No. I can't anymore. Like my body, since the breast implant illness, really, like I just get like gassed. It's weird. I used to do it all the time, but
I just upped my cardio.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. So I'll do like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, sometimes of weight training. And then I'll do at least 30 minutes cardio. Sometimes I'll do an hour, but I don't do anything crazy. I'm not getting my heart rate up to, something crazy. So I'm just trying to just add a little bit more cardio.
Yeah. Well, that's good that you're not getting your heart rate super up, because that's the most important thing not to do, I was going to say.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of HIIT training.
No, me either. So I want to kind of go into just some fun questions. Well, wait. First off, I should have said this at the beginning, but I didn't. I wanted to kind of say like how we met. I had a bunch of people who were like, well, how did you even meet Tamra? I don't understand. And so Tamra was posting about breast implant illness on her story, on her Instagram story one day. And just basically, I think it was a question box. And you said, I want to hear your story. And so I commented on that and, was like, the next morning you had replied and just said, tell me a little bit more. I want to know more about what you've been going through. So that is kind of how we came to meet. And then we just started chatting, like Instagram messaging, and
Yeah.
that's kind of it.
Yeah. I met a few people like that, just about, because there's so many girls out there, and then there's so many that have gone through it, and there's so many girls out there that I kind of open their eyes like, oh wow, maybe that's what's going on with me as well, because it's just something you never think about, and it's not anything that you're told about. Maybe more these days, but back when I had mine put in the very first time, they didn't even know anything about that.
No one talks about it, and that's what I love so much about you sharing, is you're just gonna like hit so many more women who don't even know what it is.
Right. Exactly. Most people don't know what it is.
No. So of course, I love Freddie Mercury. I have to know what your favorite Queen song is.
Oh God.
Put you on the spot.
I'm the worst when it comes to music, and I'm so bummed because I have a Queen shirt. Queen, and then it says "Another One Bites the Dust" on the back. I was gonna wear it. I was gonna wear it. It's dirty. It's dirty.
That means you wear it though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like all their songs.
Yeah. All of them are amazing.
Yes. So how did you become a huge fan? At what age? What did it for you?
So interestingly enough, my dad used to play Queen all the time when I was little, and we would be driving to soccer tournaments, and he always had "We Are the Champions" on. Like that was his number one song.
Yeah.
And then when Bohemian Rhapsody came out a couple years ago, I watched it, and just like, I don't know what it was, it resonated with me about the band, but then more so Freddie. And I just wanted to learn about him as a person. So I just started like reading books and like, I don't know, just researching this man. And I just became so enamored with what a nice person he was. And I thought it was just so interesting how he could command such a huge stage, but then in his personal life, he was such a different person. Like he was this quiet little introverted man.
I think a lot of people are like that. I actually explained myself like that. Like, in high school, I was super quiet and really kept to myself and shy and insecure, but I was also in drama. So when I got on stage, I would like come alive. And it's funny because when people meet me, they're expecting me. Like I had one girl at a birthday party, like, where's Tamra? Like, why aren't, like, you should be the life of the party. Like, here, do a shot. And I'm like, oh no, I don't do shots. And they're like, what do you mean you don't do shots? We see you do shot. Like, and I'm like, sorry.
And that's not, and it's not that you're acting, you're just being a different part of yourself in a completely different scenario. And I think that a lot of people, like you said, I think a lot of people are like that, and they're really not like that all day, every day. They go home.
Well, it's hard to be like that all day, every day, and to be on the top of your game and to be energetic and talking and all this stuff. And then when you're not filming or you're not on stage, like you would be, I would imagine, like for me, I just shut down, for 12 years. I would go and do all the stuff I had to do with Housewives and travel and film and be outgoing. But when I got home, I didn't want to talk.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want people over. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to interact with people. And I definitely didn't want to be around people I didn't know, because then they'd ask me questions about the show and I just didn't want to answer them.
That is so, I can understand that like 1,000%. And I don't film a show. I mean, I do the podcast and I talk to my clients every day. So by the time the weekend rolls around, my husband is like, do you want to have so-and-so over, or they're going to come by? And I'm like, no, like I'm going to be in the house. And I mean, sometimes I feel like he looks at me funny because he's more extroverted, but I'm like, I can't, I'm emotionally like done, and I don't have anything left to give, and I don't want to have fucking small talk. That's like my biggest thing in life. I will not have small talk with someone.
That's like the hardest thing in the world for me, is to have small talk, especially with somebody I don't know or somebody I run into. To have small talk, I just feel like I get panic attack, and I'm looking at him like, am I saying the right thing? Like, what am I doing? Like, it's just like the worst for me. It's the worst. But now that I'm not on the show, I feel like I truly am getting to know my real friends that I've known for so many years. It really, I mean, I hate to say it, they were kind of put on the back burner, because a lot of my really true friends I've known forever, they didn't want any part of the show.
Right.
They didn't want, every time that I would have a party in the very beginning, I'd invite them, production was pretty much like, can you step out of the way? And it's like, it's not fair to them. I get it because we're filming a show, but it's
Right.
not fair to them and it's not fun for them. So I didn't, most of them after a while, they're like, yeah, you go do your shit. And I don't want any part of it. But now
Right.
I feel like it's so nice to be able to have the time to have my friends over and talk to them. And, and it's not always about me and the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. It's nice to just kind of like be you in like your true form.
Right.
I
Right.
love that. I love
It's been
that.
good. It's been like I said, it was a transition, but it's everything's good.
And you're
I
doing
can't
really
complain.
well. I mean, you own a gym and you own a CBD company and you're
Yes.
doing it all. And that was one of the
Yeah,
questions.
the gym is doing amazing. We changed our business model when COVID hit because we did group fitness and we changed it to personal training. And anybody that owns a gym knows that there's more money to be made in personal training,
Yep.
one-on-one training than there is in group classes. So, it's something I had been pushing for a long time after I trained the fitness competition. I wasn't really into group fitness very much.
Yeah.
And so, we have a bunch of trainers that work for us and it's just, Eddie's super busy. It's been good. It's been a good transition.
That's awesome.
And then our CBD company, I mean, I never knew that it was going to be what it is. I had no idea it was going to be this huge. And
That's so amazing.
I know it is. I mean, I went from, cut fitness that took us forever to make money. And we would have highs and lows and good months and bad months. And, we still do. And then from this, CBD company that took off the second we started and was just, oh my God, like it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So, and then we are putting out new products every month, pretty much. I mean, I think we did 15 new products last year.
Holy crap.
So we're constantly, we're working on a new one right now. It's actually weight loss. It's made from THCV and it definitely cuts your cravings and it helps you not have, get hungry and it helps with your mental focus and
interesting.
So we're working on formulating a capsule.
You're doing all of it then, because it's like you said, it's not just like the ingestible CBD gummies, and there's you have gummies for pets too, right?
We have gummies for pets. We have tinctures for pets. We have for adults. We have CBD isolate. We have 3 different milligrams. We have CBD with THC, which is called Full Spectrum. We have a new skincare line that we just launched last month. I think it was last month, maybe 2 months ago. We have topical. Did you ever get your package?
Not yet. I don't know if they're trying to deliver it to where my office. I have there's a shipping dock and it's at the very back of the building. It's kind of hard to find, but I mean, Amazon and UPS and FedEx, they come every single day. So I'm I wonder if they're trying to if they can't find the shipping dock I don't know.
I'll check on it today and see where it's at.
Well, and no big deal. I will go to the website and order some because I want to try some of
No. Well, I'll send you some. And then we have, topicals for if you have arthritis or joint pain or muscle pain from working out. We have gummies that are full spectrum. Now, full spectrum means it has a little bit of THC in it. So if you're okay with taking THC, they're actually my favorites. The gummies, we have nighttime ones that have melatonin in it, and then some without. Nice. I take those every single night. So
I'm gonna have to get some of those for Josh because he has trouble sleeping.
Yeah, well, I told them to send you I told the guys at the office to send you the full spectrum stuff. So
Yay.
I don't know. I will figure it out. This is ridiculous.
No, you've had a lot going on.
Oh my God.
But I want to read this because I went to the Vena website and I thought this was so cool. So it was it says our story. It says in 2017, Eddie suffered from a heart condition known as atrial fibrillation. Tamra and Eddie searched high and low for the best way to improve his health and find relief, but were at a loss. Born from a need for transparent, high quality products, they set out to start a brand that's committed to helping customers find the right products to help them on a daily, weekly, monthly, and beyond basis. I just love that story. And then what it says here at the bottom, I circled it. It says, "We value transparency. We'll never pretend to have all the answers. We will never tell you what to do. We will never prioritize anything above helping you achieve your desired lifestyle, but we will always put customer education first." I love
Yeah.
that is on your side. I feel like I coach kind of similarly the same way, just about transparency and not trying to like tell you.
Well, that's kind of how we live our life. Like we're saying,
Yeah.
I'm super transparent and I will tell you like it is. And I will let you know if I don't know, and I will speak my mind. But with our business, we wanted our customers to come first. And if you don't like our product, you can return it,
Yeah.
with 30 days, you can get your money back. And we have a great customer service. The people that we have hired for customer service are amazing. They're like family to us. A lot of CBD companies, not the big ones, but a lot of them, because there's so many, they don't have a customer service. They don't have somebody you can call. They don't have somebody you can email. It's really hard. You can't get your money back. So there's been a lot of them that have come up in the past 3 years that they are around for a little bit and then they're gone.
Yeah.
So we only get the highest quality, and we try to do everything the right way.
Yeah.
We do everything the right way.
Well, it sounds like it's doing amazing because of you and Eddie both being very transparent and just wanting, customers come first. And I mean, I just think that's amazing. And I'm going to obviously I'll have all the links and I'll put that in the bio of the episode, because I definitely wanted to kind of touch on all of that. What is something that you know now that you wish you knew back then when you were younger?
Oh my gosh. Not to worry. I spent most of my life just worrying about everything. And I've had to, I struggle with depression. I struggled with feeling loved. Just like so many people, I struggled in my 20s. They were just miserable for me. And I was so unhappy and I was so sad. And all I wanted, I was a single mom, and, nobody wanted me because I had a baby, and I just struggled, and I just worried so much. And now it's really been training my mind just to let things go and just give it up to God and let whatever's going to happen in your life is going to happen.
Right.
And I think if I could have just enjoyed my 20s a little bit more, other than worrying about everything that's happening to me at the time, and just kind of let it happen, and maybe I've made smarter choices.
I love that though. But I mean, it's true, because I feel like we all, I mean, I'm the same way. I worry about everything all the time. And I still keep trying to tell myself, like, this isn't going to, if it's not going to matter in 5 years, what is it going to do to worry about it for the next
Well,
3
Eddie
hours?
taught me, because he really lives his life like every single day. He's just so happy. Rarely will see him in a bad mood. He just doesn't let things bother him, because he knows like they're going to go away, or they're going to be fixed, or, and for me, I get myself worked up, and it's useless. Why?
Right.
And why worry about something you're going through? All you're doing is ruining today, not knowing if what you're worrying about is going to get better or not, or you might have an amazing outcome.
Right.
But yet you just wasted, 2 weeks of your life worrying about it. Like,
my husband is going to die when he hears you saying that. 'Cause like, that's our one thing that he not picks at, but I mean, that's my thing, is I constantly will worry. And he's like, you don't even know what's going to happen. Like, you're worrying right now, and it could be fine tomorrow or whenever this thing is you're worried about. Like, just calm down. Like,
you're just wasting your energy, and you're basically, I'm 53 years old. I'm like, I don't want to lose any days.
Right.
And sitting there worrying about something, or getting obsessed about something that you don't know, or you don't know what to expect, or what the outcome is. It's just a waste of time.
It is a waste of time.
Go live your day, live your life, have a good day, and when you're faced with it, you deal with it.
Yep. That's it. I love that. Love it. Well, oh my gosh, I feel like we kind of touched on everything. I don't know. I'm going to ask you a couple more favorite things. I want to ask, what is your biggest fear? Have it on my list.
Oh, my biggest fear is going blind.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Going blind, because I'm so claustrophobic. And, I love design and things like that, and house design and all that, that I'd be like, oh my God, what if I couldn't see? I'd be like inside my head. I don't want to be inside this head. Nobody wants to be inside this head. I just think like, how do you get, and I know that, you know, there's worse things in the world, but you adapt and you
Right.
get other senses. And from what I hear, but to me, I think just because I'm super claustrophobic, and to just be just lights out and be inside my head all the time, I don't know how I deal with that.
So I don't even know if I should tell you about this TikTok I watched the other day. And they said it before they did it. They said this trigger warning, like if you're claustrophobic, don't watch this TikTok. And it was about this guy who went cave diving, I guess, like in this mine or whatever. He got
Like
stuck.
scuba diving.
No, it was in somewhere in Utah, I think. And it was
So
this
he went into a cave.
yeah. And
Oh,
it was bad. Like
what happened?
he got stuck and they couldn't get him out and he died. Like he was in there for 23 hours. And I mean, I'm not kidding you. Like I'm claustrophobic, but not, I wouldn't say like too claustrophobic, but when I watched it, I was like, oh my God, that like made my whole body like just, it was.
Well, when I was young, there was a huge story in the press. This little girl, and I can't remember her. I think her name was Jessica. I don't remember her last name, but I think she was in Texas. She
Yes.
fell down a well.
I saw that. Yes.
She fell down a well. And I remember it having so much impact on my life at that time. It was like everybody was glued to the TV and they had this rescue going on. And she was not very old, maybe 5 at the most. I don't know. And she was literally buried in this well and they couldn't get her out. And I just thought, I don't know if I could, I don't.
I remember that vividly too. Now, have you ever had to get an MRI?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Those are
Horrible.
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 Like the
Horrible.
worst. I'm always like, can I have that button? Like the emergency, like panic button.
Yeah. I think I actually backed out of one because I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have to let them know beforehand if they have to put you out.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And I was like, oh God,
Well, because the thing is like fucking right here. Like it's right.
I had to have x-rays of my head and they had to put my head in a basket and then in the MRI. And it was horrid.
Oh my God. No
I
way.
mean,
No way.
nope.
Okay. Well,
I would think that they could find something better. Like I think they have an open MRI now, but
I would think so because I don't think anybody enjoys having something like right there next to their face for 30 minutes.
I don't know, some people are just not claustrophobic. I am.
Yeah, it's too much. What is your favorite movie of all time?
Under the Tuscan Sun.
Really?
I watch it every year.
I haven't seen that in forever.
I know my dream is to live in Italy for a year.
You've been to Italy, right?
Yeah, a few times.
Nice.
But I haven't been to Tuscany. So we were talking the other day when Sophia gets out of school because she wants to like go live in Paris for a while or do something like that, to just move to another country for at least 6 months just for the experience.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. I mean, that's upcoming. Then you can start planning that.
I know. Well, she's got 2 more years of school.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think I covered everything. Oh no, favorite food. I have to know what your favorite food is.
Oh God, you ask me now when I'm on the keto diet.
I know, right?
Right? I don't know. You know what I had yesterday was I had In-N-Out.
Did you? Was it good?
It was amazing. Which prior to doing keto, I was mostly plant-based.
Yeah,
so
I knew that.
I would eat like chicken and fish once in a while, but I was mostly plant-based. But honestly, I'm sure it's good for me health-wise, but it's not good for my body. It's not. I am the type of person that needs high protein in my life.
Well, do you know what your blood type is? You're probably type O.
I think O. I was going to say, I think it's O.
O's do really well.
Yesterday, she's like, do you know what your blood type is? And I think it's O. She goes, you should do the blood type diet. I'm like, that's what I haven't looked into.
It's really interesting. Like the puzzle pieces that you'll start connecting, you'll be like, oh, how weird. My body doesn't respond to that. How bizarre. It's on my hazardous whatever list.
So I literally could eat bread every single day of my life if I could. Like that is my favorite. Like anything doughy, like
Yeah.
I love pizza. I love just hot bread and butter. Like
Yum.
I can just, or anything salty.
Yeah.
So I would rather do salty than sweet.
Sweet. Me too.
Like I don't want a piece of cake. I want like salt and vinegar chips or something.
Yes. Those are my favorite. Salt and vinegar chips are like my all-time favorite.
Yeah, mine too.
I'm curious to know if anything, I'm for sure things are going to change when you explant, but even with your diet, like I wonder if your body will process carbs differently.
Yeah, well, I can already see just in like 5 days that I'm laying down. And I'm like, how is that possible? You know, here I am eating cheese and meat.
Yeah.
I'm putting whipped cream in my coffee. I'm eating butter. I'm eating all the things that I don't normally touch.
Yeah.
So it's high fat, then it's protein, then it's like a tiny bit of carbs.
Tiny bit, yeah.
Tiny bit. And the carbs are coming from like vegetables. They're not,
Yeah.
you know, you're not eating a piece of bread to get carbs.
Yeah.
So I want to see what it's going to do.
Well, if you've already noticed a difference, I mean, I know a lot of people who did keto and they were really successful at it and their bodies just like responded. So,
yeah, I think it's true. Like, everybody processes food differently, and what works for me might not work for you.
Yeah.
And like we have to tell, like, you got to figure out what works for you.
Absolutely. Yes. I say that all the time.
Some people are great, on the vegetarian diet. Some people are not. I gain weight.
Well, it's because you're probably not getting enough protein.
Because it's mostly carbs.
Yes, it's mostly carbs.
It's mostly carbs, to be honest. So it's really hard to get. I mean, you can get your protein in, but it's a lot of carbs.
It's a freaking challenge.
Carbs are my enemy. Like, not like normal. Like, carbs are everybody's enemy. But for me, it's like over the top because I'm insulin resistant.
Well, and that's a huge thing. If you're insulin resistant, like your body's not going to like carbs.
No, it just likes to store them as fat. That's it.
Which we don't need that.
I don't need any more fat.
Oh, please. You don't have any fat on your entire body.
I really do. I'm actually, people are always surprised to hear what my body fat is for how much I work out. So I'm very curious to see with this diet, if it changes.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
Well, I am so excited that you were on the podcast. This was so much fun.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say before we hop off here?
No, just follow me on Instagram, Tamra Judge. And then I have my Cut Fitness and Vena CBD. If you haven't tried CBD and you are interested in it, if you go to our website and you sign up for our newsletter, you automatically get a 15% off your first order.
Sweet.
And if you have questions, we have online chatting. Like, a lot of people don't know, like, where do I start? What do I do? And why do you take CBD? People have a lot of questions. Most people are pretty educated now on CBD, but some are not. And, people use it for inflammation. They use it for anxiety. It's great to take for anxiety. It kind of really mellows you out.
Yeah.
So there's so many. What works for me might not work for you. You might have headaches. You take CBD, your headaches go away. You might have arthritis. You take it, it'll go away. It just puts your body in homeostasis. So it fills in those gaps where your body's lacking.
I love it. And I cannot freaking wait to try it. And whenever I get my stuff, I'm going to try it and I'll be posting on my Instagram story about it.
Okay. I'll text you later today to find out where it's at.
Okay. Yeah. No big deal.
We'll track the shipping.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on. This was so much fun. I want to see your view one more time.
Okay. Look at it.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
There's our dock down there, and then there's a Duffy boat. We're actually renting right now. We're renting this place for 4 months because we had a slab leak in our house, and our whole downstairs is being gutted, and we have to have the house repiped. And
insane.
Oh, it's a mess over there. And then in the meantime, we had planned to add on to our house before we had the leak, so that addition is going on right now. It's almost actually done. So we're putting a kitchen on our casita so my mom can move in there. So
you're just getting it all done.
Yeah. So have to get it all done at once.
Nice. Well, your view is gorgeous
not what I planned for, but this summer is going to be pretty amazing. I have a feeling.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So, anyway, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank
And
you for having me.
yeah, and I'll
And
text
I'll
you.
keep you, yeah. And I'll text you with the tracking, and I will keep you up to date on my keto journey.
Yes, I want to hear all about it. I really do.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Tamra.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for checking out the CWC podcast. If you want to learn more about our community, make sure to check out the show notes.